My first Mounjaro injection, everything you need to know about Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams. Hi friends, I'm Elizabeth. I am Countess of Shopping. I've got my co-host, Mr. Freddie, here with you today, talking about Mounjaro first injection. This is my before and after picture. I've actually now on Mounjaro 15 milligrams, have been on Mounjaro for over, Mr. Freddie, how many months? Over 11 months. I've lost almost 72 pounds, been very life-changing, and I want to go through and talk about ways to best help you and best serve you of what I've learned. None of this is medical advice. I will always punch you back to your healthcare professional and your healthcare provider. Mr. Freddie and I don't give medical advice. We don't pretend to play doctors on the internet. So go make sure you check out your own healthcare professional if you have in-depth medical questions. These are simply my experience, strength, and hope. Let's dive in. Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams. You got your first dose, or maybe you're a week or two in and you're like, oh my goodness. Let's talk shop. First thing is, and I always like to punt to, is Mounjaro side effects. Are you well prepared? I have a whole blog with 50 plus articles on Countess of Shopping to be of maximum service to you, to help you. And of those is, and I'll link it in the description link below, side effects. The number one side effect that most people have on Mounjaro is gastrointestinal issues. And in my free Mounjaro group, there's thousands of people there for Mounjaro weight loss, talking about, or ZEPBOUND folks too, and WEGOVY folks, of what do you do when you have gastrointestinal, either nausea, diarrhea, or constipation? Cha-cha-cha. And so some of the best things for constipation, I've got a whole article linked down below on that. I love the Bellway fiber capsules. I'll link, I have a discount code for you guys if you're interested in that, to help with constipation. Of course, eating leafy green vegetables to help with that. Body movement, walking helps with constipation too. If you're having nausea, I did a whole video series on that as well, or a video on it. But basically having ginger water, I make my own fresh ginger water. And if I'm having diarrhea, for me, changing my proteins, maybe sometimes for me, it can happen for the gastrointestinal issues of diarrhea if I'm having higher fat content protein. And so I personally used to eat a keto diet and have switched over to more of lean protein. I still get my fats in. I still definitely get my fats in. But having more lean protein for me helps to prevent some of those gastrointestinal issues. Now, one of the ways that I have done that is through LMNT. Obsessed with their stuff. It helps with magnesium, potassium, sodium. I meant to bring over my bottle. I've started taking a different magnesium. If you look in my first video I did, I wanted to do an updated video today. The magnesium that I had taken before on my Amazon Mounjaro shopping list, which is linked down below, it only has one magnesium, or maybe it has two. The one I'm taking now, and I have a discount code, has seven. In the words of Friends, the TV show, seven. So it's got 7 magnesiums in it. I have found, and I like that one better, and the price is very comparable. I thought it was gonna be way more expensive, and it actually really isn't. And I like buying it through this direct site. I have found, someone had been mentioning, and I forget who it was, a study done about supplements of making sure I'm getting them directly from companies. So I have linked down below those direct links for you as well, and a discount code. So LMNT has magnesium in it, but also potassium and sodium. Potassium helps with high blood pressure. Some people get freaked out about that. If you're worried, obviously talk to your own healthcare professional. But potassium helps with high blood pressure. So I love taking these. And I'll have 1 to 2 sticks on day 1 of my shot and day 2. Now, day 1 and day 2 of my shot are way different for me than day 6 and 7. My first week of taking Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams, I felt the side effects pretty heavily till day 6. Now I usually feel them like day 1, day 2. So something in terms of planning is I would change my schedule for the first, when I knew I was taking that shot, the first 24 hours to 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours, a lighter work schedule. And then for me, I have that ability. I mean, I have that, that's a blessing, and I understand that's a privilege. But if you do have the ability with your work to kind of finagle your calendar, that for me was very helpful if I did have these gastrointestinal things. Now, there are other side effects, severe ones, in fact. There's a type of thyroid cancer. It's a hereditary family. If you have family history for this type of thyroid cancer, you should have already talked about that with your healthcare provider. With ZEPBOUND, it's the exact same thing, by the way, as Mounjaro. Mounjaro is FDA approved for type 2 diabetes, whereas ZEPBOUND is approved for chronic obesity management. Same formularity, same is from Eli Lilly. The manufacturer of Mounjaro is the same Eli Lilly manufacturer of ZEPBOUND. With ZEPBOUND, they're now giving a disclaimer for side effects about depression. So be mindful if depression happens for you. Talk about that immediately. You are not alone. In my free Mounjaro weight loss encouragement group, we've talked about that quite a bit actually, and solutions for that. But I want y'all to know that that has now been added to the ZEPBOUND side of side effects, which is the same thing as Mounjaro. So if you're taking Mounjaro and you're noticing depression, talk to a healthcare professional about that. You don't have to suffer in silence with depression, right? Like, think about that. Vision changes, that's another one. When people say vision changes, if you are type 2 diabetic, that's another one of some of more of these, there's severe side effects like potentially getting, gallbladder issues and some other, now I'm forgetting the word, more severe side effects like those. Mr. Freddie, do you know the word? He's like, no, I don't know the word that you're trying to say. But there's more severe side effects. And being tired, ZEPBOUND has now said that with their side effects, that tiredness is one of them. For Mounjaro, I really was tired. I've moved somewhat past that. I think I've gotten more energy because I've lost so much weight. Like literally, I was carrying around a Mr. Freddie on my body. He's like 70, 80 pounds. And so having lost almost 73, just shot like 1 ounce shy of losing 73 pounds, I think I have way more energy as a result of that. So anyways, but I was very, very tired. If you look back in my playlist, which I have, I think 100 videos in the Mounjaro weight loss playlist and ZEPBOUND weight loss playlist, and you can see in the videos, I'm trying so hard to be peppy and I'm like, I'm melting. So, which is why I changed my work schedule, by the way, on shot days at 24 to 48 hours. Now, I didn't feel the side effects until like 8 to 10 hours in. This is where in the free encouragement group, my free encouragement group with thousands of people, I'm going to talk about that at the end. So we'll put a pin on, there's a couple of things that you should know about. It's an amazing free resource as my gift to the Countess of Shopping community. But having that tiredness, I wasn't prepared for that. And so now I'm a little bit upping my game. I did want to mention my, let's wrap out the side effects. So for side effects, there's a bunch of them. It's totally normal. Being mindful and knowing what the severe ones are. Those are very rare, but they can happen. So just being alert to it. If you do have nausea, smelling one of these alcohol pads, I did purchase them. These are on my Mounjaro Amazon shopping list. And alcohol pads that I wipe either my stomach, the back of my arm, or my thigh. Those are the 3 injection sites. And I have a whole blog post linked in the description link below of the worst injection sites. I kind of go through it more in depth about what each of those mean and things like that. But using the alcohol pads for me have been helpful. But also the side effect that I didn't know when I first bought them from taking Mounjaro is if I get nauseous, smelling that alcohol pad, it changes my senses. And for me, it takes away nausea if you do have that as one of your Mounjaro side effects. Next, tip number 2 is if you don't see side effects right away, if you don't see results right away, we were talking about this literally earlier today in the free group. If you don't see right away results from Mounjaro, that's okay. In Mounjaro clinical trials, it wasn't this significant weight loss until Mounjaro 15 milligrams. I saw in my first week of Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams, I lost 11 pounds. You can see that video in my playlist. Was that because I ate really poor food right before I took my injection? Heck yeah. And was that it was, I'm sure of it, salt and things like that. Like if I'm having unhealthy foods, my body's retaining that. And once that retention goes away, it wasn't necessarily fat loss, it was weight loss. And so I want people to be clear in comparing apples to apples of don't get down on yourself. If you're like, I only lost 1 pound, that is amazing. To lose 1 to 2 pounds per week is my goal. Losing 11 pounds my first week, I don't think is a healthy goal. I don't think that that's realistic, nor is that sustainable. Did it psychologically help me kind of get jump-started into this lifestyle of GLP-1s? Absolutely. And if you're on WEGOVY, if you're on Novo Nordisk WEGOVY or Novo Nordisk Ozempic, same thing. That jump-start in. But if you don't have this huge jump-start, that's also amazingly okay. It makes me so sad when people in the free encouragement group are like, I've only lost 1 pound this week. I'm like, isn't that what we're striving towards? Is 1 to 2 pounds per week? For me, more than that, that can lead to that. I mean, my own medical professional has told me that of severe loose skin, which I have, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And I've done intermittent fasting, by the way, to be clear on that. But I still have loose skin from losing 72 pounds on my 100-pound weight loss journey. And then also, that can lead to, not good health conditions. If you're continuing like that, that's just a crazy amount. So if you are having that, obviously talking with your own healthcare provider, they know what's best for you. And they also know your medical conditions too, right? Like, I think comparing, I'm going to lose 11 pounds on my first week is not realistic, not sustainable. And for me, I lost that 11 pounds, but I think that is not a realistic number. After that, I went more into a steady cadence and rhythm of weight loss. So bottom line, if you're not seeing results in the first week, that's also okay. You may need to titrate up later with doses. Now that's the next one is, it's not a race to titrate up to 15 milligrams. That is the ceiling. That is the highest it goes. Once you get there, there's no more titrating up. So being thoughtful and mindful that slow and steady wins the race. There are 3 different injection sites, the back of your arm, your thigh, and your stomach. And I did not rotate. In the literature, Eli Lilly, the manufacturer of Mounjaro, and Eli Lilly, the manufacturer of ZEPBOUND, tell us to rotate those sites in the literature. And I didn't. I was scared. Ooh, literally my first shot, my hands were sweating. I was literally shaking. I had almost an anxiety and panic attack doing it. And then I was like, oh, I did it. It wasn't that bad at all. It didn't really hurt. Botox hurts way worse. And that doesn't even really hurt. But having those different injection sites, perhaps rotating through those before titrating up to 5 milligrams, if you're seeing the food chatter come back or things like that. I wish I had known that about the rotation prior to me titrating up to 5 milligrams. And that's one of my tips for you too is, for me, I had to think at the 2.5, 3 week mark, am I going to titrate up on week 5 to Mounjaro 5 milligrams, because I only get them in every four pens in one box. Some people get a 3-month supply, which would be 12 pens in there, and a 28-day supply. You see, 4 pens times 7 days, 28-day supply. And some people get those for 3 months. I didn't. I just did it a month at a time because of the Mounjaro shortage. That Mounjaro shortage seems to have cleared itself up, and with the supply chain, I believe. But in our free group, we've been talking about that too. So if you want to join that, by the way, that's linked in the description link below. Next tip, tracking your side effects. That pattern recognition. I have a free Mounjaro side effects tracker. Going back, I can't remember what I did 5 months in with my Mounjaro weight loss journey. I can't remember what I did 3 months into my Mounjaro weight loss journey. I'm on 11 plus months. I can't remember what I did at 9 months of Mounjaro. So like where I was, the dose and side effects, I would implore you perhaps keep track of that. It is very helpful to refer back to that information, and using that free tracker is linked down below. But that pattern recognition helped me learn for my body, the back of my arm is where I have the most side effects and the most weight loss. So when I'm needing an oomph, this past week I did my left arm, and I normally rotate arm, abdomen near my belly button, or inner thigh. Use the Eli Lilly diagram. Use the Eli Lilly diagram, the purple diagram that they give you. But I did the back of my left arm and the back of my right arm 1 week, and then the next week. So I had continuous side effects, but also continuous weight loss. So the only reason I knew that was because of tracking my side effects, of knowing that pattern recognition, more side effects, more weight loss. For me, I actually welcome side effects now. I know it sounds crazy. I welcome side effects now because I know I'm going to lose a lot of weight that week. And a lot of weight for me is 1 to 2 pounds. That to me is very exciting along this 100-pound weight loss journey with Mounjaro. So next, keeping your pen, where are you going to store your Mounjaro? Keeping it cold. It should not get frozen. If it does get frozen, you're going to have to throw it away. So don't put it near the back of your fridge, because the backs of fridge can be significantly different temperatures than fronts of fridge. I have a pull-out drawer in my fridge that no one in my family knows that they're not to touch that drawer. I have an 8-year-old, and so with a kid near a needle, like being common sense, have common sense. If you've got kids that can access this pen, putting it somewhere else, right? And so we've had a whole discussion. My little boy understands he's not to go in this specific drawer. That's where my pens are kept, because this is glass in there too. And not only the pen part, like the needle, but there's glass. And then also this thing is very expensive. These pens are $1,000 in terms of Mounjaro cost plus. And so not having him touch it and not having him go near it So what are you going to do for your fridge setup if you have a partner or kids? I think that's something you should have the conversation with family members. I don't want to shit on you. I take that back. You do what you want. Take what you want and leave the rest. But keeping it cold, and maybe we rearranged our fridge. So I made mine. Mine was the cheese drawer, and now it's the Mounjaro drawer, because when I have four pens in there, as I just dropped it, as I have 4 pens in there, and then if I get my supply, I'm able to refill every 21 days. That's another tip. Find out how frequently you can refill your prescription. I like to get a couple days ahead. And so, for example, later, right after this video, I'm going to go refill my prescription. I'm going to go pick it up. I have the best telehealth company that I get my prescription through. I am eligible. So if you want to find out if you're eligible, they prescribe both name brands, meaning Mounjaro, WEGOVY, Ozempic. And then they also prescribe compounds as well, semaglutides and tirzepatides as well. And they have a compound pharmacy in which they do third-party testing, and they ship those compounds straight to you. So if you're not able to get your WEGOVY, I know some of us are watching are like, what's the difference between Mounjaro versus WEGOVY? If you're taking WEGOVY and you can't get it, use my telehealth company with their compounds. I've got a discount code linked down below that could be beneficial for you. I use mine to get my prescription filled locally at a local pharmacy. So I'm going to drive over and go get it now. I can refill mine every 21 days. So that way I'm a couple days ahead. It's very, very helpful, particularly during that Mounjaro shortage. So know your rules. Know your rules for your pharmacy and with your health insurance. By the way, that telehealth company that I love that also has the compound pharmacy, I'll link the article down below, best telehealth company down below. They do have insurance concierge too. Okay, we talked about where to store your Mounjaro injection, your Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams, your first injection with Mounjaro. What do you do after you do your first injection? Where does this pen go? Where does this pen go? What I would encourage, go to my Mounjaro Amazon shopping list. There's Sharps containers. I've got my favorite linked down below. Having a Sharps container is very helpful, obviously, because it has that biohazard thing on there. If you have anyone in your house, like a house cleaner, a babysitter, kids, loose dogs, cats, pets, loose animals, leaving these pens lying around is not a smart idea, right? Because it has a needle. You can see where it's been injected in there. Let me see if I can flip it. There you go. You can see that where it's been injected, the needle's not pointing out, but still this has glass. I wouldn't want Mr. Freddy chewing on this. I mean, it's got a prescription in there, like medication, in addition to glass, in addition to a needle as well. So putting these in a biohazard Sharps container, the literature tells us we should not just put those in the trash can. And look for your neck of the woods in your area too. I do know some people had shared about how Eli Lilly was giving away free Sharps container. That has since ended. And some people have said locally they can get them for free. So if you're looking to get them for free, I just bought mine off Amazon. It was not crazy expensive, well worth it. It alerts, again, having that conversation with my son. And then I have this up on a high shelf, so there's no way Mr. Freddy can get near it. If you've got cats, making sure maybe it's behind a cabinet door. That's very, very important. If you're going to be traveling, let's kick it over to travel. I've done a whole YouTube series on travel for your first injection. If you're going to be doing your injection, your Mounjaro 2.5, and you've got to travel, how are you going to get through TSA? I've talked about this before. You can use insulin pen bags. That's also on my Mounjaro Amazon shopping haul list. I've also gone to the beach. So we drove there. We didn't fly, but I've flown with my Mounjaro pen getting through TSA. It's fine. And then also being at the beach, taking it with me on vacation and mapping that out. But thinking about that and having thought about that too, of when your injection date is, and kind of planning ahead, look at your Google Calendar. I have set on my calendar a Google alert for me because I am type A and I do have an enriched schedule. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a serial entrepreneur. For my job, I am in front of millions of people for live streaming. I work with QVC and Pinterest and Amazon and iRobot and a bunch of clients as their live streamer. And so my schedule, I have to work with my schedule. And you probably have something, if you've made it this far in the video, you probably can connect with my personality style. So you probably have things on your plate too. If you have a demanding job or a demanding home life, or you've got a lot going on, using a Google Calendar for me has been very helpful to plan out, okay, here's my injection date. here's when I'm going to go pick up my prescription, like mapping that out in my Google Calendar, and I just have auto reminders set up. So then I can not have to think about it as much. Like, it thinks about it for me on my Google Calendar with when the shot date is, when I refill my prescriptions. So maybe coming up with some sort of calendar system for you for your Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams and with your first Mounjaro injection. Next, you're not going to eat as much, probably. You're going to probably have appetite suppression. Now, in my free Mounjaro encouragement group with thousands of people, many people have been like, I haven't had any appetite suppression on my Mounjaro 2.5 milligrams. And that is totally okay. We are all not the same. Our bodies are all not the same. We don't all have the same medical conditions. There's lots of variations and different reasons for different things. That does not make you defective, does not make anything wrong with you. That does not mean that you malfunction the pen. The odds of malfunction of these pens is very low. I've done a whole video on it. But the odds of you screwing this up are it's hard to do. They've made it almost dummy proof. Although one of our group members who I love to pieces, and if you're watching, you know I love you so much, was like, they've made it almost dummy proof, but not quite for me. The way I laughed, I was like, I totally get it. But it has on here, you've got to unclick it. When you put it in, there probably will be leftover liquid in there, totally normal. You may have liquid on your skin, like a bubble, like a little pinprick of liquid, totally normal. Maybe a blood prick, totally normal. The pen's not going to come completely out, totally normal, like totally normal. If there's a bubble in here also, there's totally normal. You can see that whole video that I did on it. But with missed injection, don't worry, you're not going to. You're not going to. I was shaking and I was like, oh my goodness. And it was totally fine. And you're going to be totally fine too. Obviously, talking to your doctor again. I should use my experience. I was totally fine. I'm sure you will be too after talking with your healthcare professional and punting you back for it. That's not medical advice. Okay, let's keep away from kid stuff. If you have a babysitter coming in, if you have somebody who comes in, if you have a chef, if you have somebody who comes in your house, an in-law, in your refrigerator, tell them, or even put a little sign on your refrigerator door. Don't go into the cheese drawer. Like anyone who comes into our house, I'm like, don't go in that cheese drawer. We have a babysitter. I don't tell her I'm on Mounjaro, but I'm like, don't open the cheese drawer, please. I had my in-laws, I have medication in there. Please just don't even open that. Or I'll even show them. I'll be like, hey, don't touch this. So be mindful of where you're storing in your refrigerator and then subsequently afterwards. You're not going to eat as much. It's totally okay. I want to encourage you. I ended up getting a GLP-1 dietitian. I'll link her down below with a discount code because I realized how unhealthy my relationship with food was, and quite frankly, being 100 pounds overweight with chronic obesity management, that there has been lifestyle changes I've had to make and mindset changes and a revamping of complete lifestyle and physical activity I've learned how to do differently, and eating more protein. I eat 100 to 120 grams of protein per my GLP-1 dietitian. And so I don't eat as much because of the appetite suppression. And I eat a lot of protein. 100 to 120 grams of protein is quite a lot in a day. I've also done it, and I did another video on the Weight Watchers app for GLP-1 people on dietary stuff. I did a whole review on that. It was like a week or two ago. I'll link down below. I've got a discount code for you guys, or a discount link. So if you're trying to figure out how to do your protein, that was helpful. And then for sure, the GLP-1 dietitian, I'm in her monthly membership. It's very, very helpful with it too. So, okay, figuring out when to titrate up. Excuse me. That was acid reflux, by the way. That was Mounjaro. I get acid reflux now. That is a Mounjaro, and totally normal. Totally normal. I drink a lot of water now too. I've linked down below my favorite 40-ounce tumblers, Stanley and Stanley. They are similar to Stanley's as well. I also like Simple Modern. If my gal Gay is watching, she loves Simple Modern too. Woohoo! We love Simple Modern because you don't have to clean them like the Stanley's. Anyways, I digress. You may not eat as much. You're probably not going to eat as much. For me, I welcome not eating as much. On day 1, day 2, I'm not going to eat like I eat on day 6 and day 7. And day 1, day 2, I'm not going to eat like I eat on day 4 and 5. So for me, that pattern recognition, that's one of those things of now I just kind of know and plan accordingly with my Mounjaro injections. But if you're starting off, you have no backline back data to have that pattern recognition with. And so encouraging to eat protein because of muscle loss that can happen with weight loss, facts, and also hair loss. That was one of my big concerns too. I do have supplement for hair loss as well. I'll link that down below too. Deciding to tell people or not, we've talked about this a lot in my free Mounjaro weight loss encouragement group of, are you gonna tell people that you're on Mounjaro? Maybe not, maybe not. Maybe that's not in your best interest. I came on YouTube. I didn't tell my family, but I came on YouTube. You know how my family found out I was on Mounjaro? I was on Good Morning America. I was on Good Morning America. The Countess of Shopping is on Good Morning America. That's how my family found out. Surprise! I had done a bunch of YouTubes at that point, but Good Morning America was how it got revealed to folks in my family and friends and stuff like that. Even at my kids' school, everyone knew and I live in a small town, when I was on Good Morning America, so now it's just kind of common knowledge. And I'm not ashamed of it, but definitely there are ignorant people out there. I get it literally right before I came on here. There was the most, I want to say, dumb ASS, and forgive me, Father, for cussing, but this crazy comments, like you may get those. And so if you need to protect yourself and put on your spiritual armor to protect yourself, and from those comments by just not saying anything, that totally is okay. I had to get a little bit stronger. I had good results going on Good Morning America, obviously. They wouldn't have picked me to go on if I didn't. But having those results gave me more of the confidence, and then that has helped with the long-term lifestyle changes. I've had to make lifestyle changes. I don't like to use the word desperate, but that's the word I'm going to use. Gripping. I was going to do weight loss surgery. Literally cut me stem to stern. Those were my choices, and that didn't feel right for me. And so trying this, I knew for me that if I had severe side effects, it was worth it. It makes me emotional saying it. It really makes me very emotional talking about it because it's changed my life. This summer I got to take my kid out, my 8-year-old. I have not been able to play with him. I feel horrible mom guilt by not being able to be with him physically, like running around and chasing him and stuff. And now I'm able to do those things, almost 73 pounds down. I'm there to be able to be present. I'm not thinking about my next meal or food or things like that, but that's taken a lot of lifestyle and habit changes, and I'm still continuing to do that too. It's like an onion, which I hate that analogy, but it's true. I'm like an artichoke. I'll do that one. There's more layers that are coming as I'm learning more about myself and making these modifications. Walking the dog every day. We volunteer with foster dogs. And the animal shelter, I go walk them too to get that exercise in. Finding out exercise I like doing. Cloak, if you're there. Clokey, one of our amazing commenters, was like, if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to continue to do it. So find things that you enjoy. Find proteins you enjoy. Find working out that you enjoy. Find things that you enjoy within this process to make it long-term and sustainable. Cookie has been this is why I love comments, by the way. I may not respond to every comment, but I see them all. Cloaky has been, so many of you, there's thousands of you, have been instrumental in my weight loss journey that I am foreverly grateful. That's why I keep coming on, doing YouTubes, writing free blog posts, is because I'm so grateful for this community and the science in which GLP-1s do with Mounjaro, WEGOVY, Ozempic, and the compounds semaglutides and tirzepatides. So very, very grateful heart here. If you want my full Amazon shopping list, I'll link that down below. If you want to get into my free Mounjaro weight loss encouragement group, you do need to answer all the questions on there. There's quite a bit of spammers. Literally yesterday I had 100 requests and maybe 25% of those got approved because people weren't answering the questions or their account looked like spammers. I refuse in that group. There's thousands of people to have anything less than quality. So if someone looks like a spammer, like you flag me immediately, they'll get kicked out of the group. We don't really have those. That's because I'm so stringent on who comes into the group. So if you're not in the group and you're like, oh my gosh, just email me, I'll let you in. It's not personal. Some people take it so personally. I'm like, it's not personal, I promise. It's your account mail if it's 1 or 2 years old on Facebook, and that may be a reason it's flagging that you might have a spam account. So that group, you don't have to do this alone. Encouragement, strength, and hope. People who've gone before you or people who are at the same. It's very helpful with daily posts. We have so many posts every day. You can post every day if you want. Some people do, and that's great. It's a free resource of where we can a safe, free resource to encourage, strengthen, and give each other hope too, which is amazing. To make these sustainable lifetime changes, it's truly a miracle for me. it's the best tool. I've had to do the work, but it's the best tool to do the work with. So in addition to my telehealth company and GLP-1 dietitian, and hopefully if you find a value in my free blog and the whole playlist here. So make sure you click that subscribe button here on YouTube and like this video, so that way the YouTube algorithm will show you more of my Mounjaro weight loss videos and ZEPBOUND weight loss videos and WEGOVY weight loss videos. And you can get on my free email list too by going to those blogs as well, my articles that I've written. So loose skin, I'll end on that too. I have a substantial amount of loose skin now from my weight loss. I have done intermittent fasting. I am getting back into lifting. I do have a lifting one that I bought that is customized that I really like, that I'll link down below. And I have a cream that I use. Nothing will get rid of loose skin that I'm aware of besides loose skin surgery, but the cream helps. It really does. One of our beautiful viewers, it's the other Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth. Was just like, I just bought it. It's expensive, but it's 10 ounces and well worth it. And that is my alarm. I need to go get my kid. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. You are worth it. I'll see you guys again next time, friends. Have a great day. Bye, guys.